Well, hello everybody, Mr. Mack here. Another thrilling chapter of Restart. I think it's chapter 8. And of course, like the pattern goes, it's a character, then chase, and a character, then a chase. It was Shoshana, and now we're back to chase for chapter 8. Now, chapter 7 was energy filled. I mean, think about it. We knew Chase was going to come to the video meeting, and Brendan set them up. Not set them up in a negative way, set them up, letting them know, gave them a heads up. I asked him to join, he told everyone. And of course, the one member who was the most upset, the most angry, understandably, was Shoshana. It was unbelievable to her. And, her blood boiled. I think she has a deep-rooted hatred for Chase. I'm pretty sure that's how she feels. And from what we've read so far, we can't blame her. Chase was mean, along with his other alpha. He was the alpha, the beta, and the gamma. Aaron and Bear just terrorized everyone. Brendan, everyone in the video club, everyone else at school, and especially Joel, Shoshana's brother. Chased him out of town, made it so bad for him he had to go to another school. Can't blame sister for being upset and have a real anger at Chase. Now, we also know that Chase is no longer the person he was. He's lost his memory. But Shoshana says something in chapter 7. She says that even though he's got amnesia, and she's thinking Brendan's correct, Chase may not remember the jerk he was, her words. She says that. Maybe he doesn't, but that doesn't, amnesia may take your memory away, but it doesn't change the person you are. Now, I don't know if all that's true. The psychology of amnesia. I'm not a physical nor mental physician, doctor. Even I have some knowledge on the subject, but it's a layman's knowledge, But, when you lose your memory, you lose everyone, everything, every place, every event you've ever done. And that's what's happened with Chase. So with all of that removed and him not realizing who he was, the true him, I almost want to say, the real him. That's what happens to a lot of people. They become someone different. They go out into the world and they go out into the world, as they are, and they learn either who they are is accepted or who they are isn't. And because the world can be cruel, right? And if you go out into the world and you are who you are and it isn't accepted, you either continue being who you are and standing on your own 2 feet and say, the heck with you, the heck with the world, I'm going to be who I am. Or you begin to chip away at who you are. You begin to adapt. You begin to assimilate. You begin to fall in line. You begin to conform. And that happens sometimes it happens to the best of us, especially when we're young. We want so badly to fit in. We want so badly to be a part of a group, and we don't realize that, sometimes, that golden rule about treat others the way you want to be treated. Sometimes people don't realize that they're treating everyone else. They don't want to be treated badly, but they're treating other people badly. So, I don't know. So, she also spoke with Joel on the phone at the end of the chapter. And, of course, Joel, her brother, was part of the video club. She almost told him, guess what? Because, he's at Melton, his boarding school. She almost told him, guess who's part of the video club? Guess who basically took your spot? But she didn't. He was already depressed. He doesn't He's depressed. You know, that's something else I wanted to bring up too. Joel had said something, and that happens too to a lot of us. It happens to maybe everyone at some level, at some point. Joe was probably the best, most talented, musically talented musician, piano player in all of Hiawassee Middle, at least. But in the whole town, he was, just top dog, ahead of his time, you know, going away to Melton to this boarding school, a music school, where there are kids from all over who were in the same boat, where they in their respective towns were also doing we're also top dogs in their field, are now at this school. So what Joel said was, I'm in town I was a big deal, but here I'm just a second-rate piano player. So he's just like everyone else. He's nothing big, nothing special. And sometimes that happens in the world. You become an actor, you become anything, and you're great where you are, the small town, the whatever. Everyone knows you. You're fantastic. You'd have talent. You're just amazing. But then when you go off into the world, sometimes you realize, wow, there's a lot of me out there. There's a lot of incredibly talented people out there. It's very competitive. Anyway, she never told Joel about. She kept it. I think it was best. Joel's not happy where he is. He's not happy about the whole situation. I wouldn't be either. He wants to be home. All right, Chapter 8, Chase Ambrose. The Hiawassee Middle School Hurricanes play a preseason scrimmage against East Norwich on Saturday. I make a point to be there, not as a player. Now remember, we're in Chase's head now. I make a point to be there, not as a member of the video club. I'm sorry. Let me start this over, or at least that one part. I make a point to be there at the scrimmage, not as a player, but as a member of the video club. Ms. DeLeo put me in charge of athletics for the video yearbook, so the game is as good a place to start as any. As I climb the bleachers, the flip cam is an awkward weight in my hand, and I don't feel like a video club kid. Not that I can recall being any kind of a kid. This is supposed to be the site of my greatest glories, yet I've lost all that. The sight of the players on the field doesn't bring back a rush of gridiron memories. I guess I always pictured vast crowds cheering my name, but there isn't much turnout for the scrimmage. Maybe a couple of dozen kids and a handful of other people scattered around the stands. I raised the camera and shoot a couple of plays. Brendan said I was a natural filming How to Clean Your Tricycle, which is the name of the cool YouTube video. That was easy enough. That stunt at the car wash was the craziest, funniest, most bizarre thing I've ever seen. I honestly couldn't look away. And since I was watching through the camera viewfinder, I captured the insanity from start to finish. It would be wrong to say I had the time of my life, since I can't speak for my life before the accident. But it was more than enough for Brendan to convince me that the video club was a place for me. A foghorn voice drowns out the PA announcements broadcasting over the loudspeaker. "Champ over here!" It's my dad, sitting in the fourth row with Helene. "I never miss a game," he exclaims, assuring me that he was here on the 50-yard line, week in and week out, all through the 28-year gap between his state championship and my own. Helene's turning into a real fan, too. My half-sister was set up an impressive array of dollhouse furniture on the metal bleachers and is playing with the couple of Barbies there. And as far as I've seen, she hasn't looked in the direction of the field once. For such a big Hurricanes fan, Dad sure doesn't seem to have any fun watching them play. The longer we sit, the darker his mood gets, blackening and lowering until it hangs over him like a line of thunderheads. This author is an amazing writer. "Did you see that?" he complains. "The left guard is supposed to cut block on that play. Otherwise, there's no hole for the running back. Or our quarterback doesn't see the field. Oh, he had a man wide open in the end zone. Or, what kind of tackling is that? Did you used to tackle like that? I never tackled like that. Dad just keeps getting darker and darker, his mood worse and worse. I don't remember anything about football. I tell him honestly, zooming in right on the huddle on the field. So I have no idea how I used to tackle. Yeah, well, it was a lot better than that, he snorts. You used to wrap up your man and bring him down properly. By this time, the Hurricanes are on the wrong end of a 24-7 score. It's funny, I've forgotten everything about my own football career, but I know the game itself. When I shoot footage of the field, action on the field, I get what the players are doing, or at least trying to do. Either East Norwich is all universe, or this year's Hiawassee Hurricanes are on a team of destiny. I have no idea how good I am, but it's hard to believe that one person could make up the difference between those stumblebums out there in the field right now and last year's state championships. We're out of sync, I observe. The O-line is opening up some good holes, but the backs are never in the right place to run through them. Exactly, Dad says, slaps me a little bit too hard on my bad shoulder. That's what I always say. We got the talent. We do when you're on the field anyway. We've got all the talent. All we need is the timing. I'm sure it isn't the first time my father and I ever agreed on something, but it's the first time I actually remember. That's another thing amnesia made me forget, how much I like his approval. Helene has dismantled her Barbie condo on the bleachers and is bored out of her mind. Daddy, can we go? Not yet, honey. Dad doesn't even glance away from the field. It's still only the third quarter. I point the flip cam at her. Why don't you set up your furniture again? We can make a movie with your dolls. She curls up her lip at me. They're Barbies. Barbie, we can make her a star, I offer. And as she places the plastic chairs and tables with great care, quarterback Joey Petronas throws an interception that East Norwich runs back for yet another touchdown. That does it for Dad. He goes off on a diatribe against the players, the coaches, even the guys who make the chalk lines on the field. I'm not immune either. He finishes with, "What are you doing with that camera anyway? You should be in this game, not taking pictures of it. I know you don't remember how good you are, but I promise you, you're that good." I start to tell him I'm only here to cover the team for the video yearbook, but something makes me swallow the words before they hit the air. I understand on a gut level that isn't what Dad wants to hear right now. Instead, I find myself saying to him, I want to go back on the field. As soon as the doctor gives the okay, you'll see. I'll be out there. Dad nods, pleased. That's who we are, champ. We're Ambrose men. We're the doers. Other people take pictures of us. Helene acts out entire storylines with her Barbies, and I capture it on video, all the while keeping up a running game commentary with Dad, who doesn't seem to be a Barbie guy. Surprise, surprise. When I play my footage back to Helene on the tiny screen, she squeals with delight. And there, sitting on the bleachers in front of a bad football game, it happens. I remember. I mean, there's nothing wrong with my ability to remember. I remember everything that's happened since I woke up in the hospital, but before the accident, except for the weird image of that little girl in blue, nothing. Until now. It's a flashback of Helene. She probably triggered that because in my memory she's squealing just like she is now. Wait, no. It isn't a happy sound. Her cheeks are red, her face twisted, and she's about to bawl. And in the memory I'm holding a stuffed teddy, her favorite. I remember that too. Actually, I've got the bear in my left hand and its head is in my right. I ripped the head off a 4-year-old's teddy bear. I remember that. Definitely not the memory I'd been hoping for, but still, I'm remembering something. I'm remembering something. I'm remembering something, I scream out loud. Yeah? What? Dad turns his attention from the game. Something from before the accident. See? He's triumphant. I told you, there's nothing wrong with you. You'll be back in commission in no time. Man, do we ever need you out there on that field. On the field, our halfback takes a handoff and is buried under a pile of East Norwich jerseys. Dad's looking away so he misses it. A tiny gap in the weak side of a defensive line. Our guy could have hit that. I would have hit that. A stutter step to the left. That's what I would have done. Juke on the linebacker and gone! My shoulders shimmy as I make the imaginary cuts in my head. I see it now. I see a player. Correction, I'm the player. And as I picture it, the image of the headless teddy bear starts to fade. After all, it's just a stuffed toy. Helene is perfectly happy now. No harm, no foul. I'll bet she's forgotten it ever happened. Well, that's the end of chapter 8. Well, what a revelation. Something has happened. Chase has remembered something from his past. Now, remember, in the beginning, you remember that little blonde girl with the dress and all that. Nobody knew who she was. Sitting there with Helene, the memory wasn't a pleasant one. Holding her teddy bear, the body in the left, the head in the right, and ripping the head off. And then seeing himself out there on that field as a football player. The image of the teddy bear went away. And what did he say to himself? It's no big deal, right? No harm, no foul. She's okay now. So the memories that are coming back, at least one of them wasn't pleasant at all. One of them was violent. Do you remember when Corinne, his father's wife, said, because when he said to her, why is she afraid of me? She's afraid of me. Or what's wrong with her? Every time she sees me, she cries. And Corinne said, well, she's afraid of you. Well, if she was there at 4 years old seeing her stepbrother rip the head off her favorite teddy bear, I don't know. These memories that are shooting back, and then for him to feel like the memory of the ripping the bear's head off wasn't a big deal, well, that worries me now. I have hope for Chase. I do. I truly do. I think redemption is a big word that simply means people can earn, can make amends. People can become better than they were. You know, I think he does. I think everyone, to a degree, deserves that. Especially if they change. Chase seems to have changed, obviously. But I don't know. It went a little dark there at the end. So we'll see. Chapter 9. And to tell you, and I'm kind of glad for it. You know how the pattern's been. Character chase. Well, the next chapter is Chase again. It's Chase Ambrose. So I'm anxious to get to that, to find out what's up and what other memories are going to be coming back into his head. Gosh, the last thing I want is for him, for the amnesia to clear up, if there's such a term, and he become who he was instead of who he is now. I like who he is now. Anyway, take good care. We'll come back for chapter 9. Enjoy yourself. Stay safe. Have a great night.